Because let's face it, at the end of the day, if you're in the blue collar world 5-10 years from now when AI is going to take over everything, I happen to be an optimist. You'll be in control of the AI. I don't think AI is going to take us all over and kill us. Some people watch too many Hollywood movies. That ain't going to happen, all right? But what will happen, what is most likely to happen, is that people won't know how to operate AI. They won't know how to use it. And they'll be in limbo like this. They won't know what to do, and they'll lose their job. So that's why I am optimistic, and I think more job openings are going to happen because of AI, and most of them will probably happen in the blue-collar world. Hey guys, just a friendly reminder that this podcast is dedicated and will always be dedicated to preserving old school values and knowing your history, preserving history as well. Young people, know your history. It's very important. I always enjoy making those intro videos. Okay, so we have a few topics to discuss. It's been a while since I've done a video like this. I've just really haven't, I don't want to waste y'all's time with unnecessary talking on subjects that don't really matter. But I do have something I think will enlighten you and that you do care about, and that does matter in this video. It's a list, 8 things that young people should be aware of if they're going into the blue-collar world. Now, let's back up a little bit with some context on why I made this video. I watched a recent forum or summit or discussion, whatever you want to call it, involving a gentleman by the name of Elon Musk. I'm sure you all have heard of him. This is by no means a political video, by the way. Don't click away. I'm not talking about garbage politics. But it just really got me thinking on how the workforce is shifting with AI. And it's incredible what they're saying, what they were saying many years ago when it comes to blue collar trades. And when it comes to white collar jobs being taken advantage of or being taken altogether with the advancement of AI is pretty significant. I think people should not ignore that. Mike Rowe, who is a well-known influencer, I guess you'd call him an influencer. He had a famous show called Dirty Jobs. I love the guy. I think he's a great advocate for blue-collar workers like myself. And he never talks about politics, at least most of the time. Sometimes he dabbles in it a little bit, but I don't pay attention to that. I just pay attention to what he's actually, the message and the promotion that he's actually doing is positive, in my opinion. Something he said many years ago is that blue-collar jobs will be the next or I forget the quote. I looked at it a few days ago, but off the top of my head, it was something like the next generation of millionaires will be plumbers and electricians. And I thought that was interesting. Now, recently, Elon Musk and the head of NVIDIA, I forgot his name. I don't know the gentleman's name. It's an Asian gentleman. They both said the same thing. They said what Mike Rowe said many years ago and what a lot of people have been saying. Now, just to give you all some more context on myself, as you know, I don't like talking about myself that much. Social media is somewhere I never talk about myself. I don't like putting my personal life out on the airwaves like other people do, but for this occasion I will. I'm 27 years old, and since I was 19, 20 years old, since I graduated high school, I decided to go the blue collar route. I decided to go to trade school. I ended up working for IBEW Union for about 7 or 8 months. And I was with a company, an electrical company, for that time frame. And I really got exposed to the real world in a good way. It really prepared me for the career I am now, which is building engineering. I'm a maintenance or building engineer is the proper term for a major 28-story commercial building. And everything that I've learned in trades has really toughened me up, has gotten me ready for the real world applications. I want to go through some of those things that you should be aware of, because a lot more young people are understanding that. They're understanding that, and they're taking action. They're saying, okay, I want to get into this field. I want to make money. I don't mind working with my hands. Let me just go in and get some sort of trade, some sort of skill. Because let's face it, at the end of the day, if you're in the blue collar world 5-10 years from now, when AI is going to take over everything, I happen to be an optimist. You'll be in control of the AI. I don't think AI is going to take us all over and kill us. Some people watch too many Hollywood movies. That ain't going to happen, all right? But what will happen, what is most likely to happen, is that people won't know how to operate AI. They won't know how to use it. And they'll be in limbo like this. They won't know what to do, and they'll lose their job. So that's why I am optimistic, and I think more job openings are going to happen because of AI, and most of them will probably happen in the blue-collar world. So I want to give some advice to young people, 8 points of advice to be exact. And this is reflecting my experience so far in the blue-collar world, because I still am in the blue-collar world. Because oftentimes they tell young people, hey, you need to get a trade, but they don't tell them how to prepare for that. They don't tell them the lifestyle that I'm blanking on the word. They don't tell you the lifestyle that you have to adopt pretty much when you become a blue-collar worker. I'm here to tell you that with these, holding up my list here, my sticky notes. So, number 1, prepare for bad attitudes. Now, this is something I had to learn the hard way. I had no idea before I got into the trades, before I decided to go down to the IBEW Union Hall in downtown Atlanta and sign up to join the electricians union. I had no idea that they would have a bunch of guys there with terrible attitudes. That's just a fact of blue collar. That's the culture. It is a very stressful job to be a blue collar worker. That's why people don't want to do it. Let's just face the facts here. Most people, when they go to college, they don't want to do anything when it comes to dirty work or being outside all the time. Nobody wants to do it, and I understand. There's a certain pride, however, and a certain skill set that comes with someone who is able to work outside and do the job well, not just do the job and go home. So if you want to get a trade, be prepared to deal with guys who've been doing it for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, even 50 years, that are still working, and they're going to have some bad attitudes. They're going to treat you the wrong way. They're going to cuss at you. They're going to tell you things that might rub you the wrong way. The last thing that you need to do is to lash out at them, because they don't really mean it. It's just the nature of the job. It's a very stressful environment, and sometimes things get to you where you bicker and you fight and you cuss at each other. I don't cuss personally, but I've heard plenty of it in the blue collar world, and it's gone one ear and out the other. At this point, I ignored the cussing. It's just part of the culture. Unfortunate culture, that is. Number 2, be ready for early starts. This is something I definitely had to get used to. So if you talk to my friends, they know my schedule. I get up at crazy hours of the morning. And because of that, sometimes I got to cancel all of these normal outings that my other friends would have with their regular white-collar jobs. They're able to get up at, decent times. Some of them work from home. They have that privilege from COVID. And they don't have to go into the office on a rigorous early morning schedule, early morning start. I mean, the earliest I've gotten up with blue collar is 3 something in the morning. I've gotten up at that time before. I had to be at the job site at 4 something in the morning. Had to be there at 5, 6 a.m. is the latest. Since I got into the building management, world, building management career, my hours have changed a little bit. I don't have to be there as early. Sometimes I have to be there at 5, depending on if they ask me to. Sometimes I have to be there at 6. But the normal hours are usually 6 to 3 or 8 to 5, which is 8 hours both ways. But if you are in a trade where you're working out in the field or in residential or service type of trade, you're getting up at crazy hours. You don't really have a set schedule because the schedule revolves around what you need to get done. See, in the white collar world, most of them operate on the markets. When do the markets open up? When do business hours start? Law firms, real estate agencies, trading organizations, they all operate on that schedule. So there's no reason for them to get up at 4:30 in the morning and be at work by 5 because they won't get anything done unless they want to, be ahead of things. So in the blue collar world, you don't operate in that schedule. You operate on a performance basis. We got to get this done. We got to get a certain amount of stuff built today. We got to reach a certain quota today. So therefore, you need to get here at 5 a.m. so you can beat the traffic. We can get as much as we can done. So by the time 1 p.m. or you can do the math on 8 hours. Whatever time when those 8 hours are up, you got a lot done, and now you can go home and there's no traffic. And you come back the next day, and you just keep doing that 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week, 7 days a week. Blue collar work is hard, strenuous work. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's why people don't want to do it. So just be ready for start times. You're going to hate it, but in the long run, you'll get used to it because you'll develop a schedule. My advice is to try your best to go to bed early. Don't stay up playing video games. Don't stay up scrolling on your phone. Go to bed. Put your phone on the dresser or somewhere away from your bed, so that when your alarm goes off, you have to get up to turn it off. That's my method I used when I first started. So I suggest you do that. Just be ready to get up that early. I know it's easier said than done, but that's one piece of advice for that. Number 3, and this was something that really helped me. Pack your own lunch. Don't always rely on fast food or buying something. That is the quickest and easiest way to become unhealthy. If you want to take care of your health and always feel good while you're working, pack your lunch. Cook home meals on the stove, or in your air fryer, whatever. Cook healthy meals in bulk. Go and buy the material from the store, the food from the store, cook it. People don't do that anymore, but cook your food. Or they even have services now that deliver healthy meals to your door. Do whatever you have to do to have healthy meals ready to go every day that you have with you on the job site, because that will save you a ton of money. Not only a ton of money, but it will save your health. Because I got caught doing that. When I first started in 2018, I was ignorant to this. I thought I would have plenty of time to just do the job, go home and eat, not have to stop anywhere. I was completely wrong. We were eating out almost every day. It was horrible. I did not like that. We were eating at so many restaurants I didn't know exist. So that's when I said I gotta make a change here and actually pack my lunch so that I'm not spending so much money. Now, even though the economy was pretty good in 2018, 2019, when I was getting out into the workforce, you still need to make sure you don't just spend your money unnecessarily, because you'll be starting out as an apprentice, so you won't be making that money immediately. That's another thing. You want to make money in trades, you won't be making it immediately. It takes a few years, but it is faster, generally speaking, than a traditional degree. Number 4, stay ahead of your journeyman. Now, a journeyman is someone who is basically the top level tradesman, someone who has gone through trade school and now they've graduated and they know everything they need to know about their craft, and they'll have someone under them that they're teaching. That's what a journeyman is. So if you hear that term a lot when you're in trade school or signing up, that's what a journeyman is. It's someone who's the most experienced on the job site. And usually what the journeyman will do is they will have one apprentice or two apprentices, whatever the job calls for, and the journeyman will direct the apprentice to do certain tasks based on their knowledge and skill level for the time. Now, one thing that annoyed me, that I was ignorant to, obviously, is sometimes they won't tell you certain things. Sometimes they'll just expect you to know certain things, and you don't. And if you don't tell them or ask them a question or, get their attention to help you, they don't care. They're trying to get their stuff done. The culture is this is what you guys have to understand. The culture is like that. You got to know what you're doing, or else you're going to be left in the dust. That's how it is in the blue collar world. If you don't know what you're doing, people aren't going to care. They got to get their work done. And not only will they not care, they'll catch an attitude with you and start, yelling at you. Why isn't this done? I told you to do it that way. Well, I thought you knew how to do it. Well, you didn't say anything. You didn't ask a question. So their only possible response is to get angry, So just to avoid unnecessary drama, if you know what needs to be done, just do it. Stay ahead of your journeyman. Don't have him tell you need to get it done, because that'll just cause drama, more cussing, more yelling. You don't want that. So just, for instance, when I was in the electrical world, the electrical companies, there were times when I knew that my journeyman would want me to take certain material to a certain area of the job site and start working. And he didn't tell me, but I knew I could see what he was doing. I could kind of map out as he was moving in certain areas and what he was actually messing with on the job site. He wanted me to go and start over in this area. Okay, so I grabbed the material and started working. He came right over to me a few minutes later and said, "Oh yeah, since you're starting on that, let me hand you this and help you out here." And no drama. We got things done because I was able to stay ahead of him. But that was after times that when I clearly did not know what I was doing, and he yelled at me because I didn't do what he thought I knew what to do. So stay ahead of your journeyman. It'll save you drama. Number 5, wear work-appropriate clothing. Okay, some people don't get this. I know it may sound obvious, but some people don't get it. They just show up in tennis shoes or basketball shorts or a t-shirt with shorts. That's unacceptable. Just like how you guys that go to college and go get degrees and are in a law firm or in a real estate agency and they expect you to wear a suit. When you're a journeyman, when you're in the blue collar world, when you are a tradesman, you need to be wearing work boots, work pants, whether it's durable jeans or work ready pants, fire retardant pants, shirts, safety glasses, all the tools you need. Okay, and that's going to be my next point. But your clothing needs to be very professional. You don't need to show up there like you're there to work on a pool, like you're a pool technician. You know how those guys dress. No offense to pool technicians, but you got that image in your mind how they dress. They just kind of show up with their street clothes on because they're doing a job that they don't need that type of stuff. But if you're going onto a professional construction site, you don't need to show up with that type of stuff. You need to show up with the proper clothes, because you'll be respected, number one, if you show up right off the bat with the proper clothes. And number 2, it will save you so much hassle. If you have the steel-toed boots, if you have the fire-retardant pants, if you have the proper work shirt, Carhartt, plenty of brands sell these clothing items, so you don't have to worry about that. In some cases, you need a hard hat. And the job site, the foreman or the general contractor, superintendent, which is the head of the job site. He keeps track of everything. They'll sometimes provide material for you, like the hard hats and some tools. But in the most cases, you will need to invest in your own safety clothing. Some of it's expensive, but guess what? The investment is worth it. All right, my next point. Number 6, show up early. Now, this goes without saying in any organization, any profession, but especially blue collar, because sometimes, more than likely, what I experience in the blue collar world, we're going different places all the time. You're not just going to the same place every day like in traditional jobs. You're going, sometimes there was a job where I had to do something out in Cumming, and then the next day I had to go down below the airport, work on the terminal roof of the airport in the middle of the summer. So I don't know where to park. I don't know where to go specifically. So I put the address that my journeyman gave me into my GPS, and I needed to show up early so I could park where I needed to park and be ready to work, be ready to greet him, and be ready to do whatever I needed to do and get settled. Now, that's kind of my personality. I like to show up early to a lot of places because I want to be comfortable and not feel like I'm having to rush into the facility wherever I'm going. But in the blue collar world, that will really help you, because if you're early, you can assess the situation, assess the environment, and know where to park. Number one, it's hard to park in all these places because most of the time you're working in the city. That sucks. So, number 7, don't take the insults personally and seriously. Now, this goes back to my first point, prepare for the bad attitudes. These guys, I can't stress this enough, don't be surprised. They're going to say some nasty things to you. It's just the culture. When you're working in a very rough environment, a very stress-filled environment, there's a lot of smoking going on. There's a lot of cussing going on. There's a lot of belittling going on. Some bullying. You got to toughen up, man, and take it. And you got to stand up for yourself, which is, I did that. But you got to just let it roll off your back, because they don't mean it. It's just them. It's just part of the environment. If you were working on an oil rig or out in the field somewhere, and it was 100 degrees and you're outside tilling the land, I don't think you would have a good attitude doing that. 90% of the time, you're probably not going to, if someone tries to do something to you, probably say, man, get away from me. So now I'm not painting the trades to be a bad environment in terms of people being unprofessional. Don't get me wrong on that. People are still professional, but it ain't like the white collar world where everybody, for the most part, is respectful. They know how to treat people right. You just don't get that in the blue collar world, because that's not their objective. Their objective is to get the job done, not to treat you respectfully. So don't take it personally. Just make sure you learn as much as you can and move on to the next thing. That's how I was. I was very quiet. I never let anything get to me. In fact, one of my journeymen, who I became good friends with him because he was close to me in age. It turns out behind my back they were secretly betting with each other on if I would cuss at them and lash out at them, because I never cussed at them. So it's just fun stuff like that, you can get into. I'm down to my last point, number 8, but let me add on something, because I touched on it with my work appropriate clothing point. You might have to buy your own tools depending on what type of job you're doing. Be prepared to do that. When you invest in the right tools, invest in the right clothing, it will pay off with dividends, man. It will really help you. It is an investment worth spending the money on. Please don't take that for granted. Don't say, oh, it's too expensive. You might need that tool. You can never have too many tools. I, for one, have plenty of tools, and there are times when it was expensive to buy them, but I still bought them because I knew they would come in handy when I got into a situation where I needed a specific tool, and I had it because I spent the money. Now, that also goes into borrowing tools. That's something you want to try not to do in the blue collar world. Try to stay away from that. If you can, buy as many tools as you can for you. Don't borrow anybody's tools if you can help it. Obviously, guys are professional and they'll let you borrow your tool if you're right there next to them. But walking up to a journeyman and say, hey, can I borrow your drill? And then you walk to the other side of the job site and don't give it back to him for 2 hours. No, that's a no-no. No, you shouldn't do that. That's something that is frowned upon. So try to have your own tools, as many tools as you can. That will help you so much. I probably left out a bunch of things, but this is my last point. Don't bash college. I want to speak directly to my blue collar friends right now, my blue collar workers who are in the same world I am. I know it's easy to say, oh, college is stupid. Everyone's ignorant. Oh, they don't know the real world. All they do is get brainwashed. It's easy to say that when you never went to college. I know plenty of people who want to go to college to pursue a degree that they want to do something with. That's admirable. I have no problem with someone who wants to go to college for a specific reason. My father's a good example. My father specifically wanted to pursue a college education. There's nothing wrong with that. I was pressured into that when I was, middle school, high school, but my parents never forced me to do it. They always told me to do whatever I felt I wanted to do. But I just hear a lot of, on social media, I've been hearing a lot of people who are from my world, and they make fun of college, and I think that's wrong. You shouldn't go down that road. That's going backwards. We should embrace college and trades. I think the problem is we're not propping up trades as much as college. That's the real issue. So instead of bashing college, where plenty of people still go and are successful, instead of bashing college, we should be encouraging trades, which is what I'm trying to do with this list. So I made a video on this in the past, a few years ago, but that was pretty broad and generalized. This is a more detailed list based on some extra years under my belt now of being in the blue-collar world. So take all this stuff with your own opinion. This is not the gospel. I know there are plenty of people who have experienced other things in the blue-collar world. This is just what I've experienced. So thank you guys for listening this long, and I'm going to be making another video pretty soon on grief. I'm going to open up a little bit about my life. I'm hesitant to do that, but I feel like I've needed to be a little bit more transparent when it comes to certain things I've gone through. I think it can help people. So that's going to be my next video. Until then, you guys have a great Thanksgiving and take care.